Today, we are meeting the Ambassador of Rwanda to Korea. 형님, 우리 방금 작가님한테 연락 왔는데 르완다 대사님 섭외됐어요.
Oh, really?
네. 와.
Then what is our topic this time?
르완다 영웅의 날 관련 행사가 열린다고 하네요. 근데 우리를 그 행사에 초대해 주셨어요. 원래 영웅의 날은 2월 1일이래요.
heroesday.
네. 근데 이게 뭘까요? 네, 찍게요. 하나, 둘, 셋. Before going to the Rwandan Heroes Day event, I wanted to know more about the meaning behind the day. Okay, so Ambassador, you invited us to the Heroes Day event, and before the event, I wanted to ask you some questions about the Heroes Day because I had no knowledge about what Rwandan Heroes Day is. So, can you tell us what Heroes Day is?
Rwanda National Heroes Day is an annual celebration that we celebrate on the 1st February. It's a time where we celebrate our national heroes that have done outstanding achievements in the pursuit of the goodness of the country and its citizens. So it is a great period because it's also an inspiration for all of us.
Rwanda commemorates February 1st as National Heroes Day each year. The country pays tribute to those who exemplified and defended the highest values of patriotism and sacrifice for Rwanda and its people. National Heroes Day was established in 1995 to commemorate the deaths of the presidents of Rwanda and Burundi, who were killed in a plane that was shot down, and the 1994 genocide against the Tutsi in Rwanda that happened afterwards. To be recognized as a hero in Rwanda, 9 conditions must be met. The Rwandan government established the Chancellery for Heroes, National Orders and Decorations of Honor or CHNO, to find, categorize and honor such heroes.
So, how do people in Rwanda celebrate the day?
We have a national official ceremony that it takes place at the National Mausoleum of Kigali, the National Heroes Mausoleum of Kigali, where we will have the President, His Excellency Paul Kagame, and the First Lady Janet Kagame, that will attend an event where they lay a wreath to that location, and they are joined by other high dignitaries and, of course, the families of the heroes.
So you briefly mentioned about the heroes before, but could you be more specific? Who are called heroes in Rwanda?
In a Rwandan context, the heroes are remarkable individuals that we feel exemplify the values and the courage that patriots have and sacrifice for Rwanda and the citizens of Rwanda. And there are also people who, in very dire situations, have proven to be extremely brave and fight all coward acts.
Could you maybe name a few?
Like Korea, we have the unknown soldier that represent fallen soldiers that fallen on the battlefield or joined knowing that they could risk their lives. We have a bit earlier, we have the King Mutara III Rudahigwa, who ruled the Kingdom of Rwanda. He was known for his innovation, a lot of modernity and reforms. He ushered Rwanda into a different type of society. He was known to be very fair and making sure that his chief or deputy chiefs would be fair and to his subjects. So it was a king that was very much beloved and loved his subjects. There is a hero, she's called Agatha Uwiringiyimana, who was the first lady, prime minister of the country. She actually fought for discrimination to be removed, but also for young ladies to have access to more education. And she was, I would say, very modern as being the first lady to be prime minister in those days. So she lost her life in the 1994 genocide as well, but she had done a series of activities to prove that. And we have one example that really stands out, and that are heroes that are still with us today. We are in 1997, just only 3 years after the 94 genocide against the Tutsi.
In 1994, during the genocide committed against the Tutsi minority ethnic group in Rwanda, members of the Tutsi community and the moderate Hutu who defended them were killed by the Hutu militia. Officially, more than 1 million people are estimated to have lost their lives due to the genocide against the Tutsi that lasted around 100 days from April 7th to mid-July 1994. The genocide began with the incident that occurred on April 6, 1994, when a plane carrying the presidents of Rwanda and Burundi was shot down as it was preparing to land in Kigali, the capital of Rwanda. But the planning, training of militia, hate speeches, and segregation campaigns, as well as the mobilization of resources to commit the genocide against the Tutsi, started well before. The deaths of 2 Hutu presidents led to violence against the Tutsi and moderate Hutu, resulting in the tragic genocide. However, the more fundamental reason behind the genocide was the colonial policy of division and discrimination by the colonial powers that ruled over Rwanda. Belgium, which governed Rwanda as a trustee after World War I, turned the equivalent of social classes into ethnic groups, Hutu, Tutsi, and Twa. They collaborated in the beginning with the Rwandan kingdom's authorities, which seemed to favor the Tutsi. But in reality, the colonial authorities developed and nurtured a policy of discrimination and division among the Rwandan people. After Rwanda gained independence from Belgium in 1962, the divisions instigated by the colonial authorities, which created conflict between the 2 groups, became more extreme. At the time, the UN refused to intervene in the tragedy that occurred in Rwanda. The Clinton administration in the US also decided not to intervene. Meanwhile, in 1995, the UN established the International Criminal Tribunal for Rwanda to try those responsible for the war crimes and human rights violations committed in the genocide against the Tutsi. Each year on April 7th, there is a week-long period of national mourning for the victims of the genocide against the Tutsi in Rwanda, and memorial events called kwibuka are held all over the world.
There's the people who committed the genocide against the Tutsi. Some of them fled to the neighboring country. At that time it was called Zaire, but now it's the Democratic Republic of the Congo. They would do some attacks, some incursion in the country. And they went to a high school in Nyange High School, and they entered in the school, and they asked a group of young people to separate in ethnicity.
Twese turi Abanyarwanda.
Ndashaka kumbwira inyenzi zawe none ahangaha nta mayinite yo guta
N'abagenzi banjye nimutwije
kora ibyo ngusabye nyereka inzu inyenzi arizo wowe n'abagenzi bawe ntabwo ndi bubice.
Twese turi Abanyarwanda.
3 years before, the genocide had happened because of this, where there was a discrimination and one specific ethnicity, the Tutsi minority, was actually massacred and killed in very, very horrible terms. And when the kids were asked to separate, they actually refused, knowing very well that this would lead to very harsh consequences. But they were very brave and they answered, we are all Rwandans, we cannot separate each other. These are people that are with us today, and they participate to events and are very critical in inspiring the young generation.
So Korea, we have Korean Ministry of Patriots and Veterans, and they discovers and remembers those who sacrificed their lives for the nation. Is there any similar ministry or organization in Rwanda?
Yes, we have what we call in short CHENO, which is the Chancellery for Heroes and National Orders and Decorations and Awards and Medal of Honors. It's a public institution that is in charge of identifying heroes, identifying people that stand out, and they also promote heroism act and also the culture of heroism in the younger generation, so that there is awareness around it. So I would say that they go maybe a bit beyond, because they also cover outside veterans, but I think it is very, very similar on the majority of their activities.
Can a foreigner be a hero in Rwanda?
Well, I think what is important about a hero is his values and his achievements. So there is no reason why a foreigner would not be a hero. Currently we don't, but there is no reason why a foreigner wouldn't be.
Maybe someday we can find Korean hero in Rwanda.
Well, we have many friends of Rwanda, many foreigners that maybe are not heroes, but have already been decorated with medals. Many of them from different places. I know there are some people from Asia, but I don't think they are Koreans yet. But I'm looking forward, of course. I think we have many friends in Korean. Who knows?
Maybe
Yes.
someday.
Yes.
So, what kind of person do you think will become a hero in the future?
It's a difficult question because I wouldn't know what the future holds. But I think heroism and what we call heroes is really about values more than anything else. And I think the core values that we look into people that we call heroes, or that we witness in people called heroes in Rwanda, are really values that are instilled in our society and our education. And these people have managed to reach their ultimate level of those values. When I talk about it, is a high proven integrity, it's patriotism, to love his country, is to be aware of the other, have a lot of humanity, is someone who is truthful, is someone who is courageous and brave. And this is what also is instilled in the everyday education. I think, they like to say that heroes are ordinary people who do extraordinary things. So I think we have so many ordinary people that amongst us, there will always be people that do extraordinary things. And the examples and giving role models to the new generation gives me a lot of hope, because I find young Rwandans to be very, very patriotic. They love their country, and they actually do fantastic things that are always I'm very inspired about myself. So I think the heroes are definitely always going to be part of the Rwanda history, but I wouldn't know who. But I'm sure that we'll be dazzled, definitely. Cooperation.
While listening to the ambassador, I wondered how Rwandans in Korea would commemorate Heroes Day. And finally, the day came. 아, 저쪽이다. 드디어 찾았습니다. 안녕하세요. 안녕하세요, 원장님. 잘 지내셨어요? 네. 네. You good? How are you? This is today's venue. 그 사람들 모임하는 걸 찍을 거고, 그다음에 이제 3시부터 본행사가 시작인데 여기 이렇게 앉아가지고 그냥 이렇게 하는 거예요. 뭐 노래 부르고 사람들 얘기하고 그게 4시 15분까지예요.
Who needs Michelana? Are you on? Okay.
Since I'm at a Rwandan event, I have to try on Rwandan clothes.
And then they come like this.
Hello, Mr. Cloud. Can you hear us? Yeah, but your screen is actually working. Can you hear me?
And then I'll be like this. Yes.
Transformation complete.
Okay, there you go.
Free one.
Many Rwandans living in Korea came. I found my seat and sat down. I somehow came to sit right next to the ambassador.
전 지금 대사님 바로 옆에 앉아있어요. 바로 옆에 앉아있고 스피치 준비하시느라 바쁘신 것 같아서 말을 걸진 않은 거예요.
The event began with the Rwandan national anthem. How would it feel to hear their own anthem in another country?
We honor and celebrate those special people who choose to pursue their objectives to attain special achievement for the public interest and says no to cowardness in every situation.
Korea has a unique history. However, many aspects resonate with our own. We hope, as we discuss and show you more of our history, that the sacrifice of our heroes inspire you as much as they inspire us.
After the speech, we watched a short film on Rwanda's young heroes. It was a film on young heroes of Rwanda that the ambassador told me about during the interview.
Genocide twese yatugizeho ingaruka. Twe guceceka twikubite.
Njyewe ndabizi ko ndi umututsi ariko ntabwo mfite inzika abantu bishe. Njyewe ubu narababariye.
Uretse kukavuga utyo uzi neza ibyabaye kuri mama n'abavandimwe banjye. Sindabaye. Ibyo bakoze uzaba kugeza aho. Ufite uburenganzira bwo kuraka. Ndetse ni n'intambwe nziza ishobora gukiza ububabare bwawe. Ariko
nk'uko bamwe mu bizi papa baramufunze kubera jenoside bamushinja ubwicanyi. Kandi nanjye ntekereza ko aramutse afashwe n'ibyo aregwa agomba nyine kwemera ingaruka akajya imbere y'ubutabera. Ariko ibyo ngibyo ntabwo bishobora guhindura ibyabaye kare. Ntabwo bishobora kugorora ababyeyi bawe babuze cyangwa abavandimwe. Niyo mpamvu numva ko dukwiye kwiyunga tukababarana.
After the film, there was a short discussion on Rwanda's heroes and heroism. An active discussion followed. There was something I wanted to ask. So, I raised my hand and asked my question.
My name is Nurina. I'm from Arirang TV. We had a similar history back in 1950. We had Korean War. I'm wondering if there are still divisions in Rwanda between Hutu and Tutsi, and what kind of efforts are you doing to integrate those people?
We used the tools or the means that we had within our society. That's the first one was the culture, because we have one culture that unites us. There was a lot of program to reconcile, commission that was was set up just after the genocide, try to bring people together by giving justice, providing justice to those, the victim of the genocide. We had also a way of forgiveness to the people who committed the genocide, because at the end of the day, people needed to live together again. We had one that is called gacaca. It's a kind of traditional justice system that was put in place to help making process going fast of judging those who committed the genocide and allowing the victim to heal.
What I can say is that let there be peace so that there is no heroes, and if challenges persist, let there be heroes so that we can have something to celebrate about overcoming challenges.
As it was a rare opportunity to meet Rwandans, I decided to interview some of them.
안에 들어가서. 루안다에서 얼마나 중요한 날이에요?
아마 아실지 모르겠지만 약간 르완다는 약간 엄청 그렇게 오래되지 않은 그런 역사가 있거든요. 근데 그런 아픈 역사에서 지금 르완다의 상태로 그 과정이 약간 사람들 많이 자기 인생에 희생했거든요. 그런 희생 기억하고 그리고 그 희생 덕분에 만들어진 이런 변화들 유지하고 발전시킬 수 있도록 그런 약간 얘기도 하고 그런 방법도 알아보는 겁니다. 네.
I came here to celebrate all of those individuals and also to keep learning. Since we are miles away from our country, at least we get to feel like, yeah, we are still in that spirit of being like Rwandan, and to keep that spirit live. So that's how I came here, like to celebrate those special people who have sacrificed everything for Rwanda to be what it is now.
It reminds us where we come from. Because when you go abroad, sometimes you can detach yourself from your culture, from who you are, as a Rwandan. So if we gather like this, remember the heroes of Rwanda in South Korea, it's kind of like feels like home. It's reminding you who you are as a Rwandan and where you are heading, Okay,
so Ambassador, how do you feel after...
Lastly, it was time to hear the ambassador's thoughts.
What kind of message would you like to convey to our viewers through this interview and through this event?
I would like them to know more about the culture, know more about the people. I think we hear a lot about Rwanda, the country, the achievements, but I think it's also important to see the people behind, the people that strive to do the best they can. And I hope also one day that they reach out and we get to know about theirs. And I thank you, Arirang, because you get to show us also a lot about Korea. So I thought it was this sharing I wanted to have with you today.
Okay.
Murakoze,
Ambassador.
Murakoze.
It was a great time to get to know Rwanda's history and culture, and also make Rwandan friends. I felt myself getting very close to Rwanda through today's event. There was one final question I wanted to ask.
약간 제가 한국어 아예 못하는 수준에서 봤는데 그 교수님 덕분에 한국어도 가르쳐 주시고 뭔가 최대한 알려주셔가지고 지금 석사까지 와 있어가지고 그래서 저에게는 한국에서 저의 영웅이지 않을까.
교수님 성함이 뭐예요?
김정수 교수님이세요. 교수님 멋지시고 사랑합니다.
Mom, thank you so much for everything you have done for me. You are really my hero, and I will owe you everything I am and everything I will ever be. And I admire your courage. I admire everything you do. Thank you so much. I love you. Ndagukunda.
I also celebrate you for your kind sacrifices you made for us to be who we are as your children, and keep fighting and keep contributing to your fullest to our country. And I love you so much, Mama.
And there are Korean heroes that come to mind around this time of year.
이곳은 1919년 3월 1일 탑골 공원에서 시작된 3.1운동 당시 독립선언서를 낭독한 곳이다.
They are the people who fought for Korea's independence. The March 1st Independence Movement Day is a national holiday in Korea established to commemorate the March 1st movement. The March 1st movement is a non-violent protest movement that was held in the largest scale in the history of protest, calling for independence from Japan, which began on March 1st, 1919. 33 national leaders proclaimed Korea's independence at the time, and the protest began with students and civilians shouting "만세," meaning hooray. This nationwide demonstration imprinted the Korean people's will for freedom and independence to the international community. As a result of the March 1st movement, the Provisional Government of the Republic of Korea was established in Shanghai.